$10 for hours, you need to make sure that your time that isn't making you any money is as free as possible so that you can use it to make money. My goal for every single one of my clients is to have them sell and service and automate anything that they have to type into a computer twice or anything they have to say twice.
Okay.
Right? So if you that's really where we want to go with every business is if it's repetitive, it better be automated.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Coffee Break Podcast, where our mission is to share business ideas, practices, and strategies while we enjoy our cup of coffee. Today's guest is Brook Borup. She's from a company called My Clone Solutions, and she helps other businesses make business happen. We'll be talking more about that in just a few moments. But before we get into it, I do want to invite you to subscribe and check out all of our other episodes if you haven't done it already. We're on a mission here to create positive, encouraging, practical content that will help you on your journey in whatever business that you're in. And we do that every single week. We have a brand new episode every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And we want you to subscribe so you don't miss out on a single episode. We do this in video version as well as audio. So if you want to throw this on in the car and listen to the podcast on your commute, well, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you are most poised to use. You can find that out at Loc-Doc.net/podcast. But we also do a video version of this as well. The crew does a fantastic job on putting together a great video episode of this every week as well, with all kinds of other information for you. So you can check that out and see all of the different camera angles on our YouTube channel. You just search YouTube for LOCDOCINC. It's there, and it's also on Facebook. We invite you to do that. Make sure you subscribe so you get the latest every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Now, grab a cup of coffee. We're going to jump into this conversation with Brook. It's going to be practical, especially if you're in the middle of running a business and you're feeling like, I can't get anything accomplished. Well, this conversation is for you. Let's go.
We got so much to say. We got a podcast to make. We're sipping on lattes, and it's time for a coffee break. It's time for a coffee break. Oh, yeah.
Brook, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us today, all the way from Tampa, Florida. I'm excited. I won't hold the Tampa thing against you because there's a guy that's down in Tampa by the name of Tom Brady. But they are champions, and then there's the Tampa Bay Lightning, which definitely don't even understand, and then there's Ken Kupferman. So those three things are kind of questionable. But we'll hold that until the end of the conversation. How about that?
Let's go ahead and do that. I mean, there's a lot of great things about here too, so I might challenge you on that one.
I'm excited to chat with you today. We're going to be talking about, just as folks are kind of joining in, we're going to be talking about the term I'm going to use is the fractional integrator, and that's because it's based off of a really in-depth dive that I've been into EOS and traction. But we're going to be talking basically about how to take the business that is and make it more process driven, right? So that it actually can scale or function without the owner. Is that a good synopsis of what we're going to be talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I like it. But before we do that, it's rapid fire, 5 randomly selected questions just to get under your skin with unknown point values. And just for you, we're going to give you a score at the end. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. Man, I am going to be jacked up with coffee today, by the way. Just want to go throw that out there. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. What have you recently felt grateful for?
Ooh, having a life outside my business.
Oh, come on now. That's a pretty good setup answer, though, for later on in the conversation, I feel like. Having a life outside your business. Oh, boy. Question number 2. What is the assumption that people make about you that's totally wrong?
Ooh, uh, there's been so many over the years. Um, People think that I'm a coach, and they lump me in with all of the coaches that are out there. And while coaches are great, coaches don't get stuff done. So that's the assumption that I am here to dispel.
Ooh, coaches. I like that statement. Coaches don't get things done. All right. We might jump into that later. Question number 3. What is the most interesting thing that you have on your desk right now?
Oh, geez. Considering that I'm working about 70 hours this week, I have 5 cups or drinks, beverages, all for the whole day, right? So I have my tea from the morning and I have my energy drink for mid morning and my water and my soda for the afternoon. We got to have some diversification here.
Already got it all plotted out and ready to go. Question number 4. What is the next skill that you would like to learn really well?
Ooh. I am getting into online website social networking. So I've started building buddy boss sites for my clients that want to not entrust their entire business to Facebook.
Okay, that buddy
Ooh.
boss site. So basically, online forums to discuss.
Yep. It's an
Okay,
online forum that you own.
okay. Uh, this is the most interesting rapid fire that I've had in quite some time. Question number 5. What's the story behind your latest rant? The last thing that just really got under your nerves and you went on a long rant about it. What was that about?
Oh, people not listening. That's always a thing, right? So because I work with people every single day and we
Mhm.
manage associations and stuff like that, um, being told one thing and then having them not listen and then coming back and doing the exact same thing over again is crazy.
Mm.
It's not productive. And if you really want to get through with something, you need to listen and then respond,
Yeah,
uh, and then remember what you listened to or what you listened to before. Yeah, that's
got it.
huge.
I want to go out on a limb and say you're probably a big rule follower.
I like to make rules and then hold everybody else to them.
All righty. Yes, indeed. Hey, congratulations. You made it through rapid fire plus a bonus question, but we'll give you a score of 946 because this was a pretty incredible response that you've given, and you actually have created so much more intrigue.
Awesome. I am super excited about that.
So, buddy boss sites. I'm going to take a note on that, and because that's very interesting. And so let's jump into it today. I think that the real big thing that's been on my mind lately, and as we were chatting just before we kind of started recording, I was very intrigued by it. One of the things that's been on my mind a lot lately is that transition from a growing business, maybe if you want to put it in the term of startup, but a startup minded business that is now trying to get its legs stabilized underneath it so that it can go farther longer, right? So that it has a little bit more functional presence about it in the long term. Maybe less reliant upon the ownership or a founder or whatever inside the organization. So that is, I think that's a struggle when I talk to other business owners, that is one thing that we're all just kind of swarming in our head right now is how do I get this business where it's not directly attached to me every single day, and it has the ability to run on its own across the board. And so that is one of the things that I hope that we can unpack today. And maybe there's other folks out there like that. When we talk about it inside of the realm of this podcast, we say we like to share business ideas, practices, and strategies. And we really talk to business owners, business leaders, managers, anybody that's inside of working on a business. And I would say that maybe this type of conversation is not always just connected to a small business with a small business owner. It could be a business unit inside of a larger organization that is kind of operating in the same way. So before we jump into all of that, because I know that was a long setup to the conversation, give us a little bit of understanding of who you are and kind of how you work with business owners on a regular basis.
Sure. So, like you said, my name is Brook Borup, and I run a company called My Clone Solution. And it's exactly what you think it is. Most of my clients come in and they need more help. They're stuck on something. They want to get something done, but they don't know how. They have a business coach. Or they've done business coaching and they have a strategy, but have no idea how to implement it and make it happen. And the foundation of all of that is the systems that they're working on. And if you went to a seminar, right, and that the people at that seminar said you need to automate, but yet every system that you have, everything that you're using has no automation capabilities, then where do you go? What do you do? How do you make that happen? How do you do what they told you to go do?
Hmm.
And I'm that person. So I have the stack of software that I have put together. It's all out of the box software that you can just get cloud based. But I am running companies that are doing $50,000 a year as a coach, up to $10 million a year as online e-commerce coaching platforms, all of that types of stuff. So my systems that I've put together are scalable, and any piece of the business or any place that you are in your business,
Hmm.
the only difference is how hard it's going to be to change,
Yeah.
right? That's there are four levels to business. Of course, you have the startup, and then you have growth mode, then you have big growth mode, and then you have exit strategy, right? And in all of those areas, there are a whole bunch of things you have to take into consideration. So if you think about it as a cube, there are 960 boxes that need to be checked in order for you to exit your business with a decent valuation, provided you have validity in what you're selling.
Mhm.
And so at any given point, you need to know what boxes you're good at and what boxes you're not. And that's where the fractional world comes in to help you solve those boxes so that you can get to where you want to get, without having to feel like you're in overwhelm all the time.
That's a great introduction. So you said a couple of really cool things there. One, how do you automate? Because that's anytime you have a conversation with anybody, that's how we're going to get better at the business. We're going to automate everything. And then you start to sit down and unpack it and say, okay, well, let's look at automating it. So walk me through your workflow. How do you bring a customer from here to here? Well, it depends. Okay, it depends on
Yep.
what? Well, it depends on this, this, and this. Well, we that's going to be a difficult thing to automate because you now have 72 different paths to get to the end result. Is that something that you're helping people to kind of work through that flow?
Yes, every client that comes in for their initial discovery call will say, "Well, my business is unique." And I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm going to show you why. The business in general is not unique. How you do things is
Mhm.
the unique piece. What you say to them is the unique piece. And, people see automation as a robot taking over, right? That pre COVID, that was always the fear. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sound robotic. Not if you write it,
Mhm.
right? Not if you have help and you actually do it the right way. Now, if you just have somebody that's putting a template together for you, and yeah, it's going to sound really robotic. If you use the stuff that are the templated emails that come with the systems that you purchase or that you decide to use, yeah, it's going to sound robotic and generic. We don't want that for you.
We understand the frustrations HOA board members and property managers face when deciding the best solution for their HOA and pool security. Should we use a keypad, hand out keys, or install a keycard system? Do we even need cameras? These are some of the questions that are difficult to navigate, and we're here to help. At Loc-Doc Security, we've spent over 20 years working with homeowners associations and property managers to find the system that best fits the pool and HOA needs. Camera systems for the front gate or front entrance, keycard systems for the pool gates, or simply updating the gate so that it meets safety and code compliance. We like to take the guesswork out of the process to answer any questions and help find the right solution. Our mission is to help you protect your people and your property, and that includes pools. Contact our team today to schedule your free consultation for your community. What's the reason why I can't just go to somebody on my team that's sitting in an office and probably has some free time in their day to help with this and say, hey, eh, we need to fix this. Go figure it out.
How many people actually go figure it out? That's the challenge. You're going to waste so much time trying to figure it out that it's never actually going to get done, and then it's going to still stay on your wish list. So, I work with people in, I like to say, a choose your own adventure kind of way. So you can come in and you can use me for my strategy, just pay me for my time, and then I'll tell you what needs to be done. And yeah, you can give it to somebody on your team to be able to do the work. Most of my clients don't have a team member that has that capability. So we end up doing the done for you service as well, in addition to the implementation coaching.
So what you're saying is if they had somebody on their team that had the ability to do it, it would have probably already been done.
Well, kind kind of, they might be able to do the work behind the strategy,
Yeah.
but they may not have the strategy brain.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that's the big part of it is, and we were talking a little bit about this before, the kind of concept that Gino Wickman uses with his book Traction is understanding that there are some key roles inside of the organization. And in order to bring those to life, you have to make sure you're kind of staying within that realm. And I think a lot of times what happens, to maybe your point, is inside of a business, an owner or somebody that's playing in that type of a role will go. They're trying to do everything for everybody, and they've spread themselves across the organization. I've been guilty of this at times, and probably am at the current moment. But
Me too.
you spread yourself so far out that you can't actually serve anybody well. And you're struggling to serve the organization and your team well because you're trying to be all things. And somebody like once you partner up with it, maybe it's a fractional integrator or an implementer at that point, then you actually have the ability to get back into your strength zone and say, this is where we want to go. And then here, I need help getting us there because I know where we want to go. We have struggle actually executing on getting to that destination. I've chatted about it with several folks over the last couple of months, and we've kind of put it in this mode of we say that we want to go to Denver, but we don't actually have a plan to get there. We don't know the date that we're going to get there. We don't know how we're going to get there. We don't know what we're going to do when we get there. We just want to get there. And then so we're all going to end up at a different spot in Denver probably and all annoyed with each other. So somebody that can come in and help say, okay, so why do you want to go to Denver? For a great example, why do you want to go to Denver? And then who all needs to be there? What are they supposed to do when they get there? Is that kind of how you help with that situation?
Yeah. So most people, I start off with if you could click your heels, what would happen? Right. So in a perfect world, when somebody handed you the credit card and said, I want to buy your thing,
Hmm.
whatever that is, what happens at that point? And then we pull everything out of them that we can possibly pull out of them. We put a timeline to it. We put verbiage to it, and then we poke holes in it,
Yeah.
right? So that's the service piece of the business. But then we also do that for the referral piece. We do that for the marketing piece, and you will never believe how many people like come in thinking they do one thing and end up having 19 product lines
Yeah.
and they have no idea how to market, sell, or service all of them.
Oh, Brooke, I've got a question for you though, and I don't mean this to be a leading question, but probably a bit of a challenge on my end. It's going to take you so long to understand my business and understand my business model. Why, again, why would I go outside of what we know to be true and the people that are already embedded inside of our organization that understand the business model well? It's going to take you a significant amount of time to understand what we're doing to help us get to that point.
So your internal team, like we said, if you wanted this to be done, you would have done it by now. So I'm happy to come into your internal team and lead the conversation so that you can come out with an effective workflow.
Mhm.
But and that's easy. I don't have to do anything other than show up and be,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. But most people don't have the structure on the team to be able to do that. They have taskmasters
Mhm.
to be able to make the stuff happen, but they don't have the strategy and they don't know what's possible. Because if you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know where to go.
Yeah. So it's effectively facilitating the conversation, helping people understand, I guess maybe guiding. This is how, like, these are the elements that we have to tackle in order to bring this to life. And those are things that a lot of times aren't even on our radars as we're
Right.
operating the business because we're probably blinded by the fact that we're operating in the business every single day.
Yeah, it's hard to look past what you've been doing for years. And it's hard for me to look past when people are talking about their businesses and be like, so did you know that for $20 more a month, you could do all of the things that you just said were problems in your business?
Yeah.
That might be something we want to look at. And it's because you don't know what's out there because you're not working in it every day. You're working just on the stuff that you've already got in front of you,
Mhm.
and that's it. And we want to make sure that you have access to everything you need to be able to get your wish list done.
Yeah, I like it. So one of the things you said is a lot of times people want things to be automated, but they don't understand or they underestimate how hard change will be. Or maybe that's a question that people are asking because you're saying, all right, well, hold on a second. This is going to be a pretty big shift across the organization. We are implementing a massive change in order to get better, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So how do you navigate that from a change perspective? Because well, a lot of us are very comfortable with the way that we operate our businesses, or even our team members are comfortable with knowing what they're supposed to be doing every day.
Yeah, the powers that be all have to be on board. So if you are involving all of your C levels in the project, then they all need to understand what it's going to do for them, and that's where I start.
Okay.
So once we outline what it is that everybody wants to have happen, or that needs to happen to make sure that the business can run itself, essentially for the most part, then we can mindset, get everybody's head wrapped around it, and figure out who's going to help us make all of those changes, who's going to be the people that are going to bring the knowledge to the implementation. Because that is always on the business owner, because I am not going to learn everything there is to know about your business. I'm going to tell you, this is what I need to hear. This is what I need to have. And who's going to do that? Who's going to help me make that happen for you? So it's really business is business is business. And we want to make sure that you have the most robust sales system, the most robust customer service system, and the most robust referral network that you can possibly have, because after all, that's where cash flow comes from.
Yeah. So in a situation, because I know you do a introductory call where you kind of understand a little bit about the business and kind of, I'm guessing, interview each other. You're interviewing the business is interviewing you. What are some things either prior to that or things that I would be processing or reviewing prior to saying, am I a candidate for bringing on a fractional integrator or a fractional individual inside of the organization to help us make this move? What are the things that I need to be looking for that would say, yes, this is a problem that I'm currently having. Yes, this is a thing that I'm trying to solve. No, I don't have the time, capacity, or ability to get it done. How do I kind of pre-qualify myself?
So most people have one problem. They have something that is keeping them up at night, or something that they want to make happen and have no idea where to start. That is what I get the majority of the time. Hey, Brooke, so and so told me about you. Hey, Brooke, I saw your post on YouTube. Hey, Brooke, I saw your post here. And that's where most of my clients come from. And they have one problem they want to solve. And so that's going to be the first thing I'm going to tackle. And I will give you 5 different ways to solve that in the first 22-minute call that we have. That shows you that I know what I'm talking about. And it also shows you that I can understand where it is you're coming from and that I do business for a living, right? Then once we get past that, we can either tackle that individual thing, or we need to have a systems conversation. And then that goes into a longer call. So I have a 3-hour discovery call that I set up that for my local clients, I come to you, you come to me. For my virtual clients, we do it via Zoom. And I literally say, I'm going to get all up in your business.
Yeah.
I have a 5-page document that I send you that has a whole bunch of questions that covers every area of your business, from marketing to sales to operations to your current team members and service providers, the systems that you're using, what you're paying for them, the whole 9 yards. So it takes, for someone who knows their business, it takes about an hour to fill out that discovery sheet. For someone who doesn't know that your business, or you're missing a whole bunch of things, it helps me figure out where the holes are at, so that we can then start patching those holes and figuring out the problems that you knew you had and the ones you didn't know you had. My goal coming out of that is to have a plan for where you want to go and what we want to do first to get your infrastructure into place, so that your business has a rock solid foundation that we can then grow and scale on.
Can you copy this key? That's a question we get asked about 3,422 times a year. And how can you actually be sure that the person who asked that question is supposed to get a copy of that key? Well, we think you should always know who can copy your keys to your business and your home, because it could be your neighbor, an old employee, a contractor, or even worse, your mother-in-law. At Loc-Doc Security, we believe in protected key systems, so you always know who has a copy of your key. To find out more, visit locdoc.net or stop by our Charlotte location. Loc-Doc Security, helping you protect your people and your property. Effectively have a forced assessment of the organization as part of that initial discovery to say, okay, I want you to assess your business because you probably don't know what it is that you don't know currently. So let's start from there. And that opens up the holes, that opens up the understanding of the kind of the blind spots. If they can't fill out that document, then they probably have a lot of areas that are going to have to require work to just get started.
Yeah, and then we just need to figure out what's most important, put a budget to it,
Mhm.
and start working through things on whatever budget it is the business can work on.
So, can we do a little bit of an exercise, just since we're here together and we've got probably a few moments left? What is a common problem that is keeping a business owner up at night, or something that they're a common problem that they want to get done, but they just don't know how?
So most people, it's they're struggling with service providers, or or they've already been to coaching and they've spent a whole bunch of money on coaching and they just don't know how to get anything done. Those are the two things that I get most often. Um, and right now, if you are a service based business,
Mhm.
it's taking your business online and being effective with it. That is where the majority of my service based clients come in. For instance, COVID, right? COVID happened, and I have a huge network of Pilates and yoga and personal trainers that could no longer touch people,
Mhm.
right? And their entire life was touching people. Well, how do you pivot that business? So we turned everybody into Billy Blaine. And so everybody has their own website that they own. They have memberships, they have videos. We taught them how to actually create the videos. Whether some of them edit their own, some of them have us do it. We put the whole thing together, and now they can sell a product that is available outside of a 2 mile radius of where they work,
Mhm.
right? So now post COVID, they have both things, and now they can bring their prices up, or they have two different levels of membership, the touchy membership and the visual membership. So most of my clients didn't even know how to send a proper email with a signature line prior to us working and getting this infrastructure in place for them. So that's just one way that we can, diversify your business model and allow you to more scalability, because who doesn't want to have the option to not go into the office?
So, yeah, so those kind of companies are actually set up better outside of the transition because they have additional offerings that they probably wouldn't have been challenged to do before, or would have been put off. When you say service providers, walk me through what do you mean when you say they're struggling with service providers?
Okay, so service providers sell knowledge, right? They sell what it is they're good at to other people, as opposed to product providers, which are your e-commerce, your stores, your widgets.
Mhm.
Um, Widget people, like people that actually sell a product, have a very different model than people who sell a
Mhm.
service. And then you have two different types of service providers. You have the service provider that works only locally,
Mhm.
and you have the service provider that works anywhere because they can.
Mhm.
So we service most of our people are service providers, construction, lawyers, and then of course coaches and consultants, which are international. Um, all of those people have to have pieces in place because they can do so many things, or their time is limited by the work they do. They're essentially trading dollars for hours.
Mhm.
And so when you're trading dollars for hours, you need to make sure that your time that isn't making you any money is as free as possible so that you can use it to make money. My goal for every single one of my clients is to have them sell and service, and automate anything that they have to type into a computer twice or anything they have to say twice.
Okay.
Right? So if you that's really where we want to go with every business is if it's repetitive, it better be automated.
So minimize duplicate data entry and anything that you're having to continually communicate verbally, figuring out a way to automate that. Because and
Yes.
I think that's a very valid point. And even in the trades world and trade service world, so you mentioned construction, but I would imagine that's going to probably roll out to even companies like ours. There are multiple things that we do repetitively that we say, okay, well, how can we automate that and give somebody some more time back, or hey, we constantly are having to communicate this, so how do we just go ahead and create that when this happens, automatically do that? So I'm trying to think of a good example about that. But like for instance, for us over the last 4 months, we took a process. This is actually maybe this is something that would be something to unpack, or something that you're talking about. We took a process that when we would put together an estimate or a proposal for someone, the typical process was we would put everything together. It would create a PDF. We would have to download that PDF, then we would attach it to an email. We would type up an email to the customer and send it to them. And so there was a lot of steps included in there, and a lot of potential human error in those. Maybe you grab the wrong estimate. Maybe you forget to hit the attachment or whatever. So now we switch that around to where all of that information is published to a customer portal website for us. And as soon as that quote or proposal is completed, it automatically sends an email to the customer with the information and the link back to the portal. So it eliminates that 5 minutes of crafting an email every single time that we have to put a quote together.
Yes, absolutely. And then when the client signs that estimate, and then they can automatically get an invoice for that estimate. They can pay that in whatever payment methods you have set up. Once that happens, it comes back, it tags them as done, adds it to your schedulers list.
Mhm.
Your scheduler then does what they need to do to schedule it. Once the job is done, a button is pushed, job complete. Here's your survey, here's your final receipt, here's your this, here's your that, here's your this. Do you have any friends? And now we have a consistent communication that can then lead to more referrals.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, I'm just kind of processing that based off of the number of quotes that we send out in a given week period. That's adding about, trying to do quick math here, about 3 hours of free time just by eliminating that process. 3 hours of time, and I say free time, but gives them 3 hours to do additional quotes. So the number of quotes increases over time, just through those little elements of automation. And that is, and to kind of speak to your point, understanding how to bring that to life. That was not just something that came in one day and turned on and everything was great. There was a lot of steps to get to that point, and working through that process to now see that on the outside. And that is just one singular element of thousands inside of the organization that could be done too.
Yeah, and when you talk about trades, I come from the trades. So that was, my dad has a construction company he's had for 30 years, and he's my worst client, and he knows it. Um but like I work with people that are constantly getting calls, right? Like, why are you not on my job yet? I talked to you such and such, right? In This is huge in trades with as busy as we are and the lack of workforce that we have right now.
Hmm.
We need to make sure that we are keeping in touch with the customers so that we don't lose them, even if we have long wait times
Hmm.
for being able to get to them. And I have a painting company that I'm working with out of Rochester, New York right now. And he has the mindset. He did his business coaching. He's got his mindset in place. And so now we just need to put all of these pieces in place so that he can work on sales and running the crew
Hmm.
and not have to work on all of these itty bitty pieces that need to get done or that we're never getting done.
Hmm.
So why do little businesses get trumped by big businesses? Because they have a lot more people to do all of the awesome customer service stuff
Hmm.
if they choose to implement it,
Yeah.
right? So you want more Google reviews? Great, you have to ask for them. How do you ask for them?
Hmm.
Now that's another step that you have to do,
Yep.
right? We're constantly being told we need to do all of this extra stuff and we don't have time to do what we're doing right now.
Sure.
So let's put it all into the world, or into the platform and the automation and the plan, so that it can get done automatically.
There you go. Automatically. Love it. All right. So you've got a concept. You work with a client. You understand their business, understand what the biggest things that they need to try to implement or fix, the things that are keeping them up at night, and then you help them work the plan, either by helping them work the plan or giving them the plan that they can go have their team execute. Either way, it's establishing that and then moving it forward.
Yes. Yeah, we can act. I can act just as a coach. We can act as a project manager, or we can act as a full service done for you team.
I like it. Hey, very eye opening, very informative. I like the concept of there's a lot of businesses out there that need this type of help because they have lots of ideas, lots of things that they want to get done, trying to build more time into their day by automating things or just solving complex problems that they know exist. They just haven't dedicated the time, resources, or energy to actually solving them. And so here's a path and a way to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Brooke, thank you very much. We will say for Tampa, we'll give you a bright spot in Tampa, regardless of the other people that we mentioned earlier.
Oh, well, thank you. Also, Florida has no sales tax, or no, not sales tax, no state tax. So that's why businesses relocate here. Um,
Very
all
cool.
those California people.
I hear you. I hear you. Brooke, thank you again for the conversation. It was a blast to chat with you. Lots of great takeaways, great information for any business that just needs to get things done. That fractional integrator, that fractional implementer, getting things done inside your organization, a great option here. You can find out more by visiting myclonesolutions.com. There's going to be links in the description below. Make sure you check that out as well. For those of you listening or watching for the first time, make sure you subscribe. We have many more episodes like this with practical information to help your business. Our focus is on business ideas, practices, and strategies, and we do this every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. So please make sure that you are subscribed and connected so you don't miss a single episode. We'll see you next time right here on the Coffee Break Podcast.